The new Osight SE's charging port design is now a side-loading battery tray to beef up the glass frame that some users have been asking for because it attracts metals and it rusts if exposed to water, and it can crack if dropped too hard on its head. The recharging cap is an interesting design, but if you lose it, then you can't charge it at all. So the SE model has addressed that problem. The optic is still fully enclosed, everything is the same as the S model. As a red dot user, the main thing we want is to aim with it. We want it to hold 0, we want it to have a big enough window, and lastly, we want a clear dot at a good price. Please note that this short video is an initial impression of the optic, and Osight did send me this to test it out, and it may take a full year to see how well this optic actually performs, because there's always something that can break in some strange ways after you use it for a while. And there will be another video going over this optic later this year. Right off the bat, this optic's design is very promising by eliminating the charging port gimmick and just stick with something that is proven to work. On the spec, we see that it's IPX7, so it's fully sealed, and it uses the 7075 T6 aluminum, and it weighs fairly light, right around an ounce. Changing the battery from the side tray is easy, and based on the spec, the Osight SE is supposed to last more than 75,000 hours on mode 3 using just one CR1620 battery. So you can expect to swap the battery once, and that's a lot easier than to keep track of the charging cap in your range bag. While it's convenient, I personally have lost the charging cap a few times, and it's something I don't like to keep track of. If choosing between rechargeable or this, honestly, I would just pick this. Since the benefit doesn't really matter that much, I have used the Osight for a while, and it's honestly something I didn't really care about that much, and it's just another thing to keep track of. So here are the Osight S that came out last year, and this is the Osight SE. They are pretty much the same in terms of footprint and the overall functionality. It mounts on any RMSE footprint slides and mount, and you shouldn't have any problems with that. And it comes with all the mounting screws too. All the controls are the same, and the dot brightness is pretty good too on a super bright day. So the dot is visible when you crank up the brightness. You can cycle through 3 reticles, and the turret has positive dial, so when you dial it, you know if it moved even when wearing gloves, you can feel it move. The reason why this is important is because many similar optics at this price range, like some of the earlier Swamp Fox red dots, the turrets don't make any positive feedback, and it's hard to know if you dialed 1 MOA or 2, and sometimes you felt like you moved 2 clicks, but you actually moved 3 clicks, and that's a pain in the ass when zeroing. So having something that click into place where your hands can feel it, and that gives me confidence when zeroing, so I don't have to waste a bunch of ammo. But I noticed that the windage turret is less tactile than the elevation. It just kind of feels dull. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the zero retention on this thing. Keep in mind that the people who have tried the Osight S have split opinions on its ruggedness. On one hand, some people think that their Osight S can hold 0 just through normal use as long as you're not intentionally breaking it, and some people get disappointed, for example, when they tried to use it as an RMR or as a competition optic. Some people even say that their RMR has lost 0 before, and then later after a little digging, you realize that some of those people don't even mount the optic correctly, or sometimes they use bad mounts. And you see that at the range all the time. And every once in a while when you go help out someone at the range, you realize they aren't even mounting it correctly, and some have never even used a precision torque wrench before. Second, why would this be even used as a competition optic? It makes no sense. Since the optic window is so small, it wouldn't give you any speed advantage at all. So when judging this optic, we can only treat it as a budget range optic. So after using so many optics in the past few years, optic isn't the only thing that can lose 0. Optic mount can be shitty, and recoil lug can be a problem. Sometimes poor tolerance screws can also be the problem that often don't get noticed. And a perfect optic can shift and tilt, and that's enough to throw off the 0. People always blame the optic, but that's not always the case. I highly recommend mounting the optic on mounts with high tolerance recoil lugs that prevents lateral shift. These footprint with raised index posts can literally wedge the optic in place and also give the screw more gripping surfaces, like this on the P365XL. I can confidently say that under normal use, Osight holds 0. And another thing I want to be clear is that Osight isn't supposed to be judged as a military-grade optic. Osight has never marketed this as a mil-spec optic, so it's pointless to compare everything to the RMR that cost about $700 a piece. This optic is designed to serve a market that wants an enclosed RMSE-style optic and is an alternative to Holosun EPS carry. It's a very promising optic, and there are plenty of good mounts you can buy to get the best zero out of this red dot, which I will leave them in the first link in the description. While this is a direct competitor to something like the Holosun EPS carry, which costs around $400, and it's also getting more expensive as Holosun's brand is growing, but you can always find some great deals out there, but it's never going to be less than $200. Like, you can save a little here and there, but it's never going to be that cheap, especially for new gun owners getting into this. And yes, the EPS is a fully enclosed optic, but it doesn't mean you can just aim with it if it's pouring rain or snowflakes constantly, and you have to constantly wipe it clean.